Land sales in 06 Ward started rising very rapidly, even quicker than Houston Heights. And that's where the predominance of value is in our homes in this neighborhood. It's in the land. 06 Ward pre-protected district prior to August 1st, 2007 went up to approximately $48 per square foot. Since then, there's been minimal sales, but the sales that we have now are around $28 a square foot, showing about a 40% decline in land value from pre to post. The only presumption that I can give in regards to the decline in value that's much in regards to land is the restrictions that are placed upon those lots for new construction. In regards to the historic status for the heights, I don't know that our value, I mean, we're just forecasting this particular one. I don't know that our values will be impacted like that because we don't have the same, our locations are different. Look, 6th Ward is still kind of like a little hamlet right next to the police station. We're more of a family-oriented neighborhood. We have large lots. But I do believe that there's going to be some impact on land value because, as Bill had related earlier, in regards to a historical property, the value of the land is not the consideration, it's the value of the structure. The thing that concerns me about the ordinance, and I'm a strong believer in preservation, that we need to preserve our neighborhood, that we need minimum lot size, we need to maintain the density and not increase density of housing. But the thing that I am really opposed to is the design restrictions. And he was talking about which encourages camelbacks and your setbacks for a one-story addition. I think it's going to really hinder the adaptability of these older homes for future remodeling and renovation. That's all I've got to say.
Yes, excuse me. Mike? I want to wrap up the questions and move on to my next section. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Marcia. I live in the Woodland Heights, and I'm questioning the procedure.
Okay. I'm going to go over that next.
Okay, thank you, because our application was turned in on the 8th, and the moratorium started on the 9th.
Yeah, you can thank Ms. Bevis for that. Okay, I want to go in. I have a question and answer for just a moment, and I want to go in about what's happening next. All of the districts that were historic districts are now protected districts. And the 3 pending applications, Heights South is treated just like the other 2. It is wrapped in to the other 16 historic districts, and they have become historic districts immediately as of last Wednesday, a week ago. Woodland Heights and Glenbrook Valley are applications in process, and they go through a completely different process. Their application was further behind Heights South. and they have their notice out, so they just have a pending application. And if you live in Woodland Heights or Glenbrook Valley, the easiest way to stop that application is to retract what the Heights South was doing initially. Retract your petition. And they will go forward on November 18th. They'll have a public hearing at the HAHC. The application will stop them, because they can keep getting petitions at this point, and we can keep getting retractions. Currently, we have enough retractions to cause them not to meet the threshold of the minimum 50% needed. But they get more petitions every day, and we must get more retractions every day. And they must have 50% of the property owners in support in order for their application to move forward from the HAHC. So if you're in Woodland Heights, you want to work on people that had signed for a petition with a 90-day waiver who are upset, who are willing to retract. That is the only way to stop Woodland Heights at the moment. All of the rest of the districts, starting last Monday, your 30-day window has begun to create a petition to cause a reconsideration. It's very confusing. I know many people think, we talked to many people who think they were given an automatic resurvey, because there was talk of that in the United Way. That was misinformation I'm not even going to go there, but that is not what City Council adopted. So what you get is the ability to re-petition for a reconsideration. They're going to make it hard on us, okay? It's their intention to make it difficult to withdraw out of a historic district. We did a count last Tuesday of the yellow signs to gauge the support for this ordinance. Usually people who are very much in favor of it, have been in favor of it for a long time, and are pretty extreme in their views of that. And on the east side, there were 46 yellow signs in support of the ordinance out of 866, 5.3% of the tracts. In the Heights South District, there were 26 yellow signs out of 814, or 3.1% support. And in the Heights West, there were 38 signs out of 517 tracts for 7.4%. The total number of yellow signs in those three districts equal 110 out of 2,197 property owners. Less than 5% of those people. I do not want those 5% of the people to intimidate you or influence you. The 95% of the people who are not that favorable ought to have a vote. The way it works is that we need petitions from the tract owners in writing that we have today, or we may get off of our website. We have arrived at what is basically the 10% for Heights East and Heights South. We need a few more in Heights West. We're a little behind there. It is not our intention when we get to the 10% threshold to turn in our petitions. We are going to take our full 30 days. At 10%, I could turn in the petitions, and it would start the next phase of the reconsideration. The city planning director will evaluate whether we met our 10% threshold, and then we'll pick a location and a date for a public meeting for them to discuss all the reasons that you should be enjoying your historic preservation ordinance and district. And when the meeting is set, from the date of that meeting, it's my understanding, we'll have 15 days to receive a ballot in the mail and return it back, indicating your plan to withdraw from the district. We must have 51% of those ballots returned. First time in the history of the city that 49% of the people could return a ballot against the district, and no one else returned one, and we would be defeated. Period. We must have 51% of the people return the ballot in opposition for the district to go away. So my objective was to identify 60% of the property owners who were willing to sign a petition. That would give me clear and overwhelming support at City Council that they did not meet the threshold. I am fearful that ballots will get lost in the mail or not be returned in time. We will only have a 15-day window to return the ballots once they are mailed out. By signing the petition and creating your level of support, we are identifying the 60% of the people who are in opposition, and I will go to council and I will take my map and my petition and my coded map and say, look, you talked about not needing to spend the money on the resurvey automatically. Why spend it now? Because I have 60% of the homeowners who are in opposition. So we want you to sign our petition, we want you to work your neighbors, and we want to arrive at the 60% threshold. I firmly believe that we have it. We've already identified on Heights East 25% of the homeowners. Blue means I have the petition, and a blue dot means I either have indication by a blue sign or an email or a retraction that they are in opposition. We need 442 tracts. I'm at about 200 tracts so far today in 5 days. This is only the 5th day. On Heights South, I'm doing actually even better because we had the petition retraction process. And so I have about 225 people that have indicated their opposition to the ordinance. I must get the petitions though so that we have your name, address, phone number, and email to notify you. In Heights West, we worked on that a little more today, but we're going to take our 30 days, we're going to get all the retractions and petitions that we can. We'll identify. Let's be clear, if I only get 30% of the people that are in opposition, we're never going to get 51% of the people to return a ballot. So we must take our time to identify our neighbors, educate our neighbors and our blocks, whether or not they're in support or not. So we're asking you to sign a petition if you haven't. We're asking you to work your neighbors and your neighborhood and educate the people. We're happy to come and talk to them. I assure you, once the petitions are turned in, which we will turn them in, and the city has their opportunity to come tell you all of the amazing benefits to the Historic Preservation Ordinance and the district and all the beautiful things it's going to do for your neighborhood, it'll be another battle. I mean, I know it's going to be a battle. But we're asking for your support. We are organized. We have district coordinators in every district. We have block leaders for most every block. And we have an organized homeowner effort. Of these 500 people that have signed these petitions, there weren't 10 realtors in that whole thing. They like to blame this on realtors and developers. I happen to have a job in an industry that allows me flexibility, and I take the shot. I let them ramrod this through one time, and I just wasn't going to this time. I was going to stand up and take a stand, and I'll take my pot shots along the way. But I strongly believe this is detrimental to my neighborhood. I strongly believe it's going to hurt the least fortunate in our neighborhood. Those that are elderly, those that are youngest, those with the least amount of money. I believe that, and I'm entitled to my belief. So I'm going to work as a private citizen to get to this process, and that's why we've been doing it. I appreciate you coming here. Kathleen will tell you the next step of... Yeah, I'm happy to answer any question about the petition process now. Yes, ma'am.
My name is Carol. We live at 937 Oxford, and we were told we were drawn out.
Here's the way I think that's going to work.
And 4 of us that are new houses in a row were drawn out. What percentage of this is happening in all the districts?
From the original applicant, Heights South is a little odd. If you're in the other districts, they are not going to enlarge Heights East or Heights West at all. There is no attempt. The original application for Heights South did include that, and it is my interpretation and belief that until it's adopted fully, they still have the ability to add you back in. I could be wrong. I mean, the likelihood is that they're not going to add you back in, but you are under a little different rule than everyone else. It is not their intention to enlarge any districts. The Heights South is a little odd because it has never been approved by the city council. That district has, and this district has. I want retractions and petitions for these people because I don't want them to come back and take you in at the last minute. They are able, once the 15 days starts, the ballots come in and the ballots go out, they will evaluate the information, and if there's clear and overwhelming support, certainly it's their intention to have a historic district. And if this whole block has overwhelming support, that might become a district. I mean, there must be opposition of 51% in every block to keep it from becoming a district. So if no one returns a card in this section, I assure you that will be a historic district. I mean, it's clear how it works. So they want to have historic districts in our neighborhood. But if there's overwhelming opposition, we are looking for 51% opposition in each block. If I go to city council and say, look, there is not a block that has 51% support,